Hello everybody, today is January 14th, 2016, and some of you have seen and following, I've been doing a study in this book of Psalms every day, in a daily video of encouragement. Well, today though, I'm going to kind of interrupt that study, and I'm going to go into Daniel 3, because this is about the fiery furnace, and my family and I are probably about to go through one, and we need to have faith in God and his deliverance. And so I'm going to go ahead and before I get into chapter 3 of Daniel, I'm going to just say that if you notice, when we've been in our Psalm study, that a lot of it's been about taking our refuge in God and God giving us deliverance. So there's going to be an example of that here in chapter 3 of Daniel. So I'm going to start with verse 8, and I encourage you to, if you have your own Bible or any way to read the Bible, whether it's online or on the phone, or if you have a Bible, I encourage you to follow along this time, because it's going to be a long scripture and you're probably not going to be able to see it. So I'm still going to turn the camera toward the scripture, but it's probably going to be harder to see it. And I'm going to start in chapter 3, I'm going to start with verse 8, because that's where it starts talking about the fiery furnace. So verse 8, "Therefore at the time certain Chaldeans came forward and maliciously accused the Jews. They declared to King Nebuchadnezzar, 'O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that every man who hears the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, bagpipe, and every kind of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoever does not fall down and worship shall be cast into a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom you may have appointed over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, pay no attention to you. They do not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you set up.' Then Nebuchadnezzar, in furious rage, commanded that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought. So they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar answered and said to them, 'Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the golden image that I have set up? Now if you are ready when you hear the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, bagpipe, and every kind of music, to fall down and worship the image that I have made, well and good. But if you do not worship, you shall immediately be cast into a burning fiery furnace. And who is the God who will deliver you out of my hands?' Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. If this be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But if not, let it be known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up." Then Nebuchadnezzar was filled with fury, and the expression of his face was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He ordered the furnace heated 7 times more than it was usually heated, and he ordered some of the mighty men of his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their cloaks, their tunics, their hats, and their other garments, and they were thrown into the burning fiery furnace. Because the king's order was urgent and the furnace overheated, the flame of the fire killed those men who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell bound into the burning fiery furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished and rose up in haste. He declared to his counselors, "Did we not cast these 3 men bound into the fire?" They answered and said to the king, "True, O king." He answered and said, "But I see 4 men unbound, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt, and the appearance of the 4th is like a son of the gods." Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the door of the burning fiery furnace. He declared, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, and come here." Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out from the fire. And the satraps, the prefects, the governors, and the king's counselors gathered together and saw that the fire had not had any power over the bodies of those men. The hair of their heads was not singed, their cloaks were not harmed, and no smell of fire had come upon them. Nebuchadnezzar answered and said, "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants who trusted in him and set aside the king's command, and yield up their bodies rather than serve and worship any god except their own God. Therefore I make a decree. Any people, nation, or language that speaks anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be torn limb to limb, and their houses laid in ruins, for there is no other God who is able to rescue in this way. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. So, that was Daniel chapter 3, and that was the whole story about the fiery furnace and what happened and why these three men went into the fiery furnace. And one of the main verse that I want to kind of talk about today is 17 and 18, because these men, I'm gonna see if I can get it to zoom in. I don't even know where the camera is facing, but anyways. So verse 17 says, "If this be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us of your hand, O king. But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up." So 17 and 18 are important because these men talk about how God has the power to deliver them of this fiery furnace. But in 18, they let the king know that even if God does not deliver them, they will still follow God's command and obey God. So this is kind of where I am at with this fiery furnace too that could happen. I know that God has the power to deliver us and to protect us from this. But still, even if he doesn't, if it's not God's will for us to protect us from this, we still have to serve God. We still have to obey him. And just there's people across the world going through persecution. So sometimes it's not God's will for deliverance. And like in my situation, if I don't listen to a certain person, or when they keep telling me what to do, because I've gotten to the end of someone talking to me like crap and keep telling me what to do, and if I speak up or I don't listen to him, he might threaten me, but I might just have to go through it and just stand up, for the right thing. So, but as we go through the rest of the story, here with the fiery furnace, the king threw them in the fiery furnace, but God did deliver them, and they were not touched by the fire. So God has the power to do that today too. Whether it's his will or not, we don't know yet. But then at the end of this story, the king ends up praising God, and he ends up making a decree that if anyone speaks against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, will be torn from limb to limb. So at the end, this king that once persecuted these three men is praising God. So this is what today's reading is about, is the fiery furnace, and I hope that you are encouraged by it. And just remember this, when there does come a time in your life that you might go through a fiery furnace. And so tomorrow I'll go back into Psalms, and maybe I'll even let you know how my experience goes tonight if we go through that furnace. Might be a testimony or whatever. And then we'll continue with chapter 7, I think we're in, with Psalms. So until then, I hope you enjoyed the video and have a good day.